Loloma mai e te ulu a te watu. Nau mai te fuinga o niwa. Tau mai e tā puahua. Soko mai e tonga lewa. Aria mai nukuroa o tāne. Ano mai akatoka manawa. Kake mai e nua manu. Tangi ke, kua mātou ua tātou e mangaia e nua. Te akaroa e araura e nua. Tūrau oro mai e tumutu warawaro. Good day, sirs, and good day, madams of Palmerston Island. I spoke these words of welcome to all of our islands, all of our people, 16 months ago, under these very domes. And I spoke these words of welcome to our people as our first real steps to a journey into our future. I outlined the unprecedented challenges facing our country and the world from the incredible impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, and reminded us of the ongoing threat of climate change that is not going away. I put our trust in our ocean, our moana nui o kiwa, as providing us with a way forward for our survival and our future prosperity. I then initiated and set in motion our seabed minerals exploration licensing process. Today, we take an enormous step in our transformational journey towards a sustainable and thriving future. Today, I'm proud to stand before you all to mark this significant and historic occasion for the Cook Islands. Today, we issue our first ever exploration licenses. So it is my pleasure to welcome you all here today and those joining us through our live stream to share in this historic occasion. This has been a long journey for our country, so let us appreciate the significance of today and what a defining moment it is for our country and our people. The step we take today opens a new pathway towards a brighter future with untapped potential for our children and our future generations. We continue to live in unprecedented times and face multiple challenges as a country and as part of the international community. From the COVID-19 pandemic and its widespread impacts to the real threat of climate change, we must address those challenges of today while ensuring that we care for the needs of our future generations. For 2 years, we, along with the rest of the world, have endured the impacts of COVID-19, which will continue to be felt for many years to come. And it was inevitable that COVID would come to our country. But when it did, it would be on our terms. Only when we were prepared, only when we had built up our defenses, so that we were at our strongest, and we are at our strongest as a people to face it. So we planned, and we prepared, and we made ourselves ready to the extent that today we are 98% vaccinated. Thanks to our faith in our God and the decisive action of the government and the support of our people, we, the Cook Islands, have so far been spared from the severe health impacts of COVID. However, this pandemic has highlighted our economic vulnerability, our over-reliance on our tourism industry. As our country's income has fallen in the last 2 years, our national debt has grown as we seek to finance our economic survival and support the livelihoods of our people. Yet, we have still seen some of our people move overseas to help support their households. Today, our people are leaving to pick apples in New Zealand. Tomorrow, we will have our own apples to pick, and they sit on the floor of our ocean. If we want our people to stay, if we want to show them that there is a future here in our country, then come and help us pick our golden apples that have been waiting for the right time to be harvested. This new industry will provide us the opportunity to diversify our economy, a more sustainable economy that can provide a buffer to the impacts of future economic shocks and offers more opportunities for our people's prosperity. COVID, however, is only our most recent challenge. Climate change is enduring and has been recognized the world over as the biggest crisis facing our planet, which requires a global response, but affects us, island nations, most acutely. We are the ones most at risk from the actions of larger countries. Tackling climate change requires a concerted global effort. As a result, there has been a major shift globally towards a low-carbon economy based on renewable energy and technology. In order to achieve this, the World Bank estimates that more than 3 billion tons of minerals and metals will be needed by the year 2050. The demand for cobalt alone is predicted to increase by nearly 500% to meet the growing demand for clean energy. This is not something we can achieve by ourselves, but we, the Cook Islands, can play our part by providing the metals needed for clean energy. By us helping the world, we also help protect ourselves. We are an ocean nation. Our country is 99.99% ocean. It sustains us, it connects us, it is a part of our identity. It is inevitable that we will turn to our ocean for our protection and our prosperity. We are blessed to have an estimated 12 billion tons of nodules on our sea floor. These nodules contain minerals such as cobalt, nickel, copper, and manganese, some of which are now considered strategic and critical for the global energy transition to a green economy. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, it tells us, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to harvest." We have waited many years for the opportunity to develop our mineral resources. The time is right. The time is now. However, we cannot do this by ourselves. This is where partnerships and collaboration is needed. We need to engage with those that have access to the technology, the capability, and the financial resources to make this happen. But most importantly, to work with those that share our values and our vision so that we can prosper together. This brings me to the reason why we're all gathered here today, to witness the signing of the Cook Islands' first ever seabed minerals exploration licenses. The decision to grant these licenses was done after robust and careful consideration. These are long-term partnerships that we, the Cook Islands government, were very careful about who we allowed to operate in our waters. Environmental protection is a core focus in developing this sector. As such, the licensing process we developed set high expectations for any potential contractors wishing to operate in our waters, with environmental sustainability at the forefront. The applicants for exploration licenses have been through a rigorous licensing process over the last 16 months. Not all have met our standards, but 3 were successful, and I congratulate them on their efforts and their commitment. In this regard, it gives me great pleasure to acknowledge the granting of exploration licenses to Cook Islands Cobalt Limited, CIIC Seabed Resources Limited, and also Moana Minerals. These 3 companies will conduct exploration work programs that will open up a whole new world for us. The exploratory research will shine a light on our seafloor and allow us, as Cook Islanders, to gain knowledge and a better understanding of our seafloor and our ocean. And this will be invaluable in building our own knowledge of our deep sea environment. This is our ocean, and we want to know everything there is to know about it. We want to lead the world as a center of excellence in the understanding of our ocean. The seabed industry will see the creation of work and training opportunities for Cook Islanders, including support services, logistics opportunities during the initial stages of exploration. There will be careers opportunities for geologists, marine engineers, crew for research vessels, and many more. There will be types of jobs that have not yet been created that will provide opportunities for our kids in generations to come. Our Cook Islands vision is to work with our license holders to create a sustainable and responsible sector that is mutually beneficial and in harmony with our environmental, social, and cultural values. This will require careful management, and as a people of the ocean, we take its management very seriously. The protection of our environment is paramount to our people. In this respect, strong environmental management and regulation is a core focus in the development of the seabed minerals sector. To achieve this, we are building a seabed minerals industry based on best principles and practices, supported by a robust legal framework. We will continue to proceed using the precautionary approach, taking actions based on the best available science to manage our seabed minerals resources and the protection of our biodiversity. I would now like to acknowledge those that have helped us get to today's event, which is the culmination of years of planning and preparation. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Seabed Minerals Authority for their hard-working efforts to bring this licensing process to its completion, particularly over the last 16 months. In particular, the Seabed Minerals Commissioner, Alex Herman, for her tremendous leadership in steering our ship to this momentous occasion. I'd like to acknowledge all of her staff in her modest office that have put in some very hard yards to get to where we are today. It really is a great job that you've all done over the past 16 months. Me te ki mata. We have also benefited from the assistance of technical experts, both locally and overseas, which you have already heard the Commissioner speak to. I acknowledge our civil society and industry for their valuable contributions to strengthen our licensing process. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge our close partners, Australia and New Zealand, for their support during this licensing process, including working with our officials to share knowledge and processes. It is through the contributions of these individuals, these organizations, and the collaborative partnerships that we have developed such a strong, robust process. Te atianga nei te rauka ni au ki te akamitaki I tō tātou I te tangata kātotoa. I te au matai ti topa, ko tere tere ana mātou ki tō tātou paenua. I te kawe, I te kura, I te karere, I te pachi I a koutou, kia turuturu mai. No te ia takai anga mua tā tātou e rawe nei. Ko ariki mai koutou, I te ia pachianga. Pera katoa ki te tuanga toru, tā tātou I mātou, te tango tō tātou pāsereia. Te tua te evangeria, tātou ākonoanga tūke, I roto I tō tātou pāsereia. Tō tātou uiariki, tō koto matakainanga. Tō tātou kawamani me tua, pera katoa tō tātou kawamani enua. Tō koto turuturuanga I te ia takaianga tā tātou e takai nei I te ara. Kua ki te tātou, I te meitaki, I te noonei ki te takere o tō tātou moana. Nā roto I tā koto ārikianga. Te akamata nei tātou I te kimi I te rāwenga, ki rauka mai te ao meitaki. no reira ariki mai I te reo kamitekianga. While it's my honor and privilege today as the minister to sign these exploration licenses on behalf of the Crown, I need to acknowledge that this baton has been passed on from our forefathers, the likes of Sir Albert Henry, Sir Geoffrey Henry, Dr. Sir Tiripai Mawate, and others. I acknowledge these visionaries of the past who, despite the criticisms and all the barriers put in front of them, believed in our ocean wealth and kept the flame burning. And I also acknowledge our QR, a strong supporter of our minerals program and himself a voyager on previous exploration voyages, my predecessor, Sir Tom Masters. This reminds me of a quote from the great scientist, Sir Isaac Newton. If I see further today, it's because I'm standing on the shoulder of giants. So one day too, I will pass this baton on to another to carry forward our vision, which is to see our seabed minerals resources developed responsibly and sustainably for the benefit of our country and our people. But at the end of the day, let us not forget the good Lord who placed these treasures in our ocean. And I'd like to repeat the verse that Pastor Bobby gave us this morning from the book of Isaiah, chapter 60. Just verse 5. Then you will look and be radiant. Your heart will throb and swell with joy. The wealth on the seas will be brought to you, and the riches of the nations will come. Kia ora ana tātou katoa toa e kia mana ia.